morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members of the committee. My name is Astumbe Kolikezu, Senior Accountant, Ministry of Education.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members of Parliament. Over here is my name, Davis Lusaka.
Good morning, Chair and honorable members. Mr. Wanda Bishop, the teacher Nelson Mandela.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members of Parliament. My name is Nipo Kabise, head teacher in Katuba Secondary School in Chinga Province.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members of Parliament. My name is Ajeni Manga, Accounts Assistant, Ministry of Education.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members of Parliament. Woodson Chamber is my name, Accounts Assistant, Ministry of Education.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members of Parliament. I'm Alexander Mdenga, PU of Chinga Province.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members of Parliament. Felix Ngoma, PE of Lusaka. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members of Parliament. I am Edgar Kakamakasaji, Deputy Project Coordinator for Zambia Education Enhancement Project.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members of Parliament. My name is Kaheko Kamputi, head teacher, Nakatete Schools.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members of Parliament. I am Chibinga Flight, head teacher, Mahoy Secondary School, Masabuka.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members. My name is Kopek Mwaka. I'm the regional accountant for PO South.
Good morning, Chair, and your committee. I'm William Kumar, this was Nasongwe, representing the head office.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members of Parliament. I'm Monga Maxon, head teacher, Mamba Secondary School, Southern Province.
Good morning, Chair and members of Parliament. My name is Imaima Edson Kurema, head teacher of
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members of Parliament and the PS. I'm Mrs. Sinkolongo Grace, the Provincial Education Officer for Luapula Province.
My name is Katuba, Debs Kalambwa.
Thank you so much. PS, before we start, I'll confer you with a minute. PS, as you appear before this committee, or indeed any other committee of Parliament to assist in the deliberation before it, you are protected under Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia, which grants members of Parliament immunity against prosecution for what they say while in the House. This means that the information you give to this committee cannot be used against you outside Parliament or indeed in any court of law for as long as it is factual. However, should you deliberately or willingly mislead or misinform this committee, the same law can be used against you in the courts of law. PS, I haven't heard in the introduction PO copper belt, unless if I missed it. And even debts from any district copper belt, especially, is it Ndola? Ndola, Kitwe? Kitwe? Kitwe.
Chair, I need to be guided, but I remember very well at the time we were recessing that with what had been concluded, those that were not party to what is going to be deliberated today were allowed to go. Chairperson guided in that way.
Yeah, but there was a request from honorable members that we needed the manager for the farm because the issue of the goats was not concluded. Hence, we requested that we need the farm manager, and if we have the farm manager, naturally even the PO will be there, and the debts for the same district.
Chair, I've got it. Let me just...
so what we can do, while we are doing other things, we can do the communication. They can come in the afternoon because we'll be with you the whole day. We need to finalize on the issue of the farm.
All right, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so PS, you did your submission for paragraph 28 last week. So honorable members, we can start asking questions.
Permission that he leaves so that he can go and...
Okay, permission granted.
Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Controlling officer, on the budget, funding and expenditure, you submitted that the underfund...
That's paragraph 28, PS, which you did the submission last week.
You submitted that the underfunding was for other personal emoluments, and the matter was brought to the attention of the Treasury. My first question on behalf of the committee controlling officer is, was there any feedback from the Secretary to the Treasury? That's the question number one. The second question is, what evidence can you provide to show that you in fact informed the Secretary to the Treasury? And the third question is, what is the current status on the liquidation of those personal emoluments? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you. PS, you can respond to the three questions.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Like I said last week when we were in here, I did guide the committee that actually when we liaised in person actually with ST's office, we were told because the dismantling is done as and when funds are available, and I think I did also allude to the fact that they are consistent in the way they are giving us the money. The only issue is that because these are historical and they are quite a lot, they are being dismantled as and when the money is coming, but it's consistent. As to whether I have evidence to that effect, the only evidence I have is the fact that they have responded that they will be dismantling, and I think we've seen those policy pronouncements being given and money is being given as and when money is available. And right now actually it's very frequent, it's almost every month we are being given. Suffice to say the debt is quite huge. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Daka, any follow-up question?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. The evidence we are looking for is the correspondence between yourselves and the Secretary to the Treasury. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Was there formal communication, PS?
Not really. I think it's simply because we've noticed that we've noticed that it's something that is standing not just for our ministry but all ministries, and the fact that they are dismantling, I think we didn't think that it was necessary, because they did say it's from time to time they'll be giving, but it's quite frequent, but not that I have correspondence in writing. Maybe what I have in writing is that every single month I'm receiving amounts coming to dismantle the debts. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable members, you proceed to operational matters and understaffing of schools. Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling officer, the audit, I'm failing to understand clearly your response, because the audit is revealing that in the selected schools in 6 provinces, they established a deficit of 17,664. Now your response is saying the deficit is in fact 709. I think this is for 2022, 869, 2023. How come this discrepancy between what you have responded and what the audit report is telling us? Because the discrepancy is so big.
Yeah, Madam Chair, in the same vein, Honorable Miller has asked, the auditors were talking of 72,671. The ministry is giving higher numbers, and also there will be need for them to correct their submission. They have said 2022 and 2023 respective, and not 17,664. The auditors were talking of 72,671. So in same line, I wanted the Auditor General to tell us what was in the report from the ministry at the time of audit, because we are now being told that what Auditor General found on the ground was not the correct position.
PS, to respond to the 2 questions.
Thank you, Chair. I think after we also, because immediately the Auditor General raised those issues, we also had to now ascertain the position. I think that's when we noticed that it wasn't that figure. We can still be able to verify with them, but we did, immediately that audit came up, we also had to make sure that we ascertain. And I think after ascertainment, that's when we noticed that there was that discrepancy, but we can verify with them.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. So we have repeatedly said about the processes in the Office of the Auditor General, we issue a management letter which was issued to the controlling officer, and they made their management responses. It was an opportunity for the controlling officer to correct the figure. We also issued a DAP for controlling officer to confirm the figure, which they confirmed that the figures were correct. However, if there is a new position, then that's a different case, Honorable Chair. I submit.
Honorable Mfalali.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling officer, your human resource team, which is supposed to have responded to this through you, we find it difficult to understand or to comprehend when there is this whole process of an audit query. You are given time to verify, and why did they do it if it was this simple as they are trying to put it to you, that actually the variance is not what the Auditor General has found? Because these are things that they should have resolved. Now they come here and they start arguing, telling us that it's actually this 70 what. Why do they have to wait that far? And for us, we believe the correct position is what the Auditor General has provided, not what they are trying to provide now and say, no, you can go and verify. Why didn't they do it? They had enough days, enough months to do this.
PS, you can respond to the questions, and you taking into consideration the submission from the AG's office.
Chair, I think at this point in time, maybe I can also allow Director HR or Assistant Director HR to also come in and respond, especially that they are the ones who ascertained, and then it came to my knowledge thereafter. Thank you.
Director HR, where is it? You can respond through the PS.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think I'll ask my Mr. Mtengo, Assistant Director, to comment.
The Assistant Director? The Assistant Director, you can comment.
Morning, Chair, once more. Like Director from Auditor General has indicated, that figure was given to us, and we needed to also verify if at all what they had discovered was what was on the ground. And after we checked our details, like PS has indicated, that is what we discovered, and that is what we shared with this committee this morning. I submit.
Honorable Mwira.
Chair, I'm lost now with these cross submissions. The controlling officer, through you, Chair, are we then saying that this response is being withdrawn and they are agreeing with the audit report that in fact the deficit is 17,664 and not what is contained in the response now? Thank you, Chair.
So maybe through the PS, Assistant HR, can you help us? Because you are given an opportunity to respond through the office of the AG, not to this committee. So can you respond to the question from Honorable Mwira? What's the position?
Chair, the position is as we have submitted today. Maybe if you allow us time to reconcile our documents with Office of the Auditor General, but the position is as submitted this morning. I thank you.
But HR assistant, why didn't you do it when they came on the ground? What was the challenge for you to give them when the auditors came? You can respond to the PS.
Chair, thank you so much. Information was given, but I think when we were trying to tally our submissions from province to province, probably that is where we could have erred. But as you may be aware, we are looking at the actual deficit for the ministry. Remember, we recruited quite a number last year, so we needed to reconcile our figures so much so that we bring to the fore the actual differences as at now. So probably we could have missed it in one or the other. But the point is, what is being submitted is what is obtaining on the ground. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Mfalari.
Thank you, Chair. Assistant Director through the controlling officer. Our question and our view when it comes to responses, the Auditor General's office are using the 2022 approved establishment register against the field positions at preschool, primary and secondary school, and they sampled only 6 provinces for the authorized positions. Now, you had the opportunity, since you make your returns, you told this committee that you make your returns monthly. Reconciliation should have not been a problem. If you are making your returns monthly and you are telling this committee that actually, first of all, you even failed to respond to the Auditor General in time. And that's the more reason we are now sitting to start looking at your inefficiency. Inefficiency in the sense that when the auditors are auditing what they did here, when it comes to us, when you realize that you have not even responded and you are coming to respond here, we now see that there is an inefficiency in the system. In this case, your department is inefficient. So, why did you have... Are you disputing the figures that are in the establishment register?
Honorable Mai.
Madam Chairperson, I think my question will be a simple one. The ministry should have been very happy that 72,000 positions have been approved in the establishment register. And the people of Chavuma would have gotten their chunk. So 2022 to 2023, these positions were not filled. So in the response, the controlling officer is telling us that the reason was attrition for GCE. So I want the PS to help this committee understand at what level did we have this problem, because the establishment register was approved in 2022 And as at 2023, what was given to you did not utilize it. So at what stage, PS, did we have this challenge?
PS, you can respond to the questions.
Thank you, Chair. I think first, before I even respond to Honorable member here, I just need to also confirm that, yes, I agree, it was inefficiency. I just wanted to make sure that I re-emphasize on the issue that the Assistant Director was responding to earlier. Ideally, it should have been done at the time when the auditors were on the ground. That we have to admit, and I think that's the same issue of back and forth. But later, and which I need to apologize about, is that later on now we realize this is not a situation, and we are now trying to bring in information at this point. I think that I regret that it's happening, but that's exactly what took place. Now, as to the second question now coming from the Honorable member here, I still want to direct this to Assistant Director so that he can clarify on that position. Thank you, Chairperson.
Assistant Director. But PS, you should know that we will not allow leak rates every day. You know, these people are paid government money because of their work. So if they're not working, then why are they paid? So, Assistant Director, can you respond to the questions? We don't want excuses.
Chair, thank you so much. Allow me to explain the findings of the auditor versus what is on the ground.
Just tell us what's on the ground.
Yes, Chair. I'm trying to distinguish between the structure positions as well as the vacancies, because the MP Chavuma said that we have so many vacancies on the ground, and why are we not utilizing them? Chair, allow me to mention that we don't have vacancies on the ground as at now. This is the more reason why we had to seek for authority from Treasury to recruit for 4,500 this year. If we had 72,000 positions available, we wouldn't have even gone to Parliament to Treasury to request for 4,500. If you look at the structure for our ministry, for example, we have the deficit of, by last year we had a deficit of 115,000 positions before we recruited 30,000 teachers last year. These are positions that, all things being equal, would have required as a ministry to make sure that we are working properly. Now, on the ground, the 72,000 that Auditor General is talking about is not as, in terms of vacancies that are available right now. That is according to the structure, but these positions are not funded to enable us recruit teachers. I thought I should mention that, Chair. Thank you.
Accountant General, any intervention on this issue?
Not at the moment, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable Mwira.
Chair, I think before I ask my question, you know, controlling officer, I think you really need to have a strong hand on these people that you are managing, because this is a very important finding. You know, the whole country will talk about teachers and the deficit and where they are lacking. For me, if I were sitting in the controlling officer's position, would have taken very serious interest in following up this finding. Really, this is regrettable that we are coming here with such an important finding and not having answers. So, my question now, I don't know who will even answer this question, because it's coming from this table that we have on page 2. It's forming part of the auditor's finding, because I've seen some gaps. For example, under preschool for Luapula, the establishment register is saying new, actual new. Secondary school, still under Luapula, actual is new. And then under Lusaka, for preschool, under actual it's new. So what does this mean? This where we have these blanks. What does this mean? Does it mean there are no established positions for preschool in Luapula? We could not determine the actual number of secondary school teachers in Luapula. We could not establish the actual number of preschool teachers in Lusaka. What does this mean?
Honorable Mfalali.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I take note of the response. Maybe we try to put aside the 17,000 that is being disputed. We go with the number that was given, which is coming to about 1,578 is the deficit that they admit. Now, controlling officer, even this number, if we are to take this number as the year under review, that the deficit was 1,578. Again, controlling officer, like Honorable Mwila has indicated, I think you need to rock the Human Resource Department of your ministry. Take them out. Otherwise, they'll bring you down. This is not efficiency. This is not effectiveness. This is a sign. This is a sign of someone not being honest on duty in terms of this department. And even the response that is being given, Chair, the response is saying as DEPs or as human resource chiefs in those districts or provinces, they give out those positions to say, no, we have a position and we want to fill up these positions. What is happening, we know so well, controlling officer. We know so well that your human resource are not up to any good because they are holding, these positions are being held, or they are holding positions, and the rest I think we cannot even explain it here. So this is not good. I think it's better you actually deal with the human resource, just to remove them. That's the only solution to this. You are having people that are trying to hold positions for specific people. Otherwise, if they were straightforward, these positions would have not even existed under 2022.
Honorable Mai.
Madam Chairperson, for the sake of somebody who is listening to us in Chongwe, I want the Auditor General to explain to the people in Msanzala, when they say a review of the 2022 approved establishment register against the field positions at preschool, primary school, sampled in 6 provinces, reviewed that out of 72,671 authorized positions, only 55,000 positions had been filled. What does that mean, Auditor General?
AG, you can intervene. And then may I have PO Luapula and Lusaka to respond to the question from Honorable Mwira. Luapula and Lusaka, you can sit aside.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair. So an establishment register is a register that shows the positions that are available. For instance, if it's teaching positions, the teaching positions that are available in those provinces. So according to that register, it showed that there were 72,671 positions in these sampled provinces. So these were authorized according to that register. But in terms of the actual then shows that there are 55,000 teachers that are employed in those positions, meaning that out of then the difference between 72 and 55 is 17. So what that simply means is that if there are places where there are no teachers, then those places are supposed to be catered for under the 17,000, that difference that is there. So basically that is what it means. I submit.
Luapula, PO and Lusaka, where are you? Do we have Luapula there? Oh, yeah. Then Lusaka. PS, what are you saying?
I was saying if you can allow the ECE director should be the one to answer that question, because it actually stems from him, and yes, it stems from him. He knows better than how, because he is the director in charge of ECE.
Okay, because the source,
according to the question
from
that
the report also it's saying that the source was from PO, so or PO work with.
Yes, but the director I think
so through the PS, the E what? EC, you can respond to those questions. The one from Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chair. I will specifically look at the structure in terms of early childhood education. According to the approved structure of 2018, Ministry of Education, this is where you find the structure for early childhood education. But now, when you see that structure, it is given, the structure itself. Now, the issue is that what the government decided is that the Treasury Authority will be given as and when need arises. Therefore, it simply means that the structure may show the numbers, but the actual position which are approved will be different. Currently, the number of ECE teachers stands at around 4,000 countrywide. So I think in terms of the structure, where the difference may arise is because of what I've said, because of the approved structure vis-a-vis the positions that are given Treasury Authority. I submit, Chair.
So maybe you can help us by responding for Wapula and Lusaka. You've given us the background, so now the question was on Wapula and Lusaka.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What it is in terms of, as I've explained, in Wapula, there is an approved structure arising from approved structure of 2018 Ministry of Education. But
Honorable Mfalad.
Thank you.
Switch off your mic.
The Chair, I think the director ECE is not responding to what we are looking for here. The question is, Luapula and Lusaka has been identified. What is the establishment register for Luapula as of 2022? We are reviewing 2022. What is the establishment register as of 2022 on Luapula and Lusaka?
You can respond.
Thank you, Chair.
If you are not able to respond for a particular province, we can redirect to the PO, because according to the report, it's very clear that the source was PO.
Exactly. I've given
you gave us an overall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chair. From my side, I've given you the position or what is prevailing. Now, maybe on the nitty-gritty of, I allow the province from what I've explained. I've given you the position on overall as a country, what is prevailing. Maybe on that point, Chair, I would request that when we go into the detail of now, the establishment register.
Or the PO Luapula, can you respond to the question? PO Luapula, can you respond to the question for Luapula province? Why we have these numbers?
Thank you very much, Madam. I'm behind here. As the director has said, it's the same situation of approved structure against the funded positions. I would not want to cheat that I'm in the position to tell the numbers for now, but the disparities because of what the director has said. I submit.
Okay, maybe we can also listen from Lusaka. So don't get the words of the director. Can you give us a position as a province, not what the director said? Because the director is representing the whole country, and he can't have specifics from the provinces. That's why we want you to give us the position of your province. Lusaka province.
Chair, as has been said, we also want to submit that there is a difference between what is in the register and what is actually funded, giving that deficit. But if my Shirimo has any additional information, I would call upon him to add. But that's the difference. There are positions that are there, but they are not funded.
Honorable Mwira. Yeah, can switch off the mic.
Chair, I think all these responses are not addressing what we want to know, and people must be paying attention when we are sitting and asking questions. We will now start asking questions like we are in preschool, and I'll do that. Luapula, preschool, establishment register, according to this table appearing on your response controlling officer on page 2, preschool, Luapula, there is no number there. Are we saying the whole province? At least attempt to answer, even if you don't have the accurate numbers. Are we saying that the whole province, there is no approved establishment for preschool teachers because it's new here, and therefore we could not even find any actual? Are we saying Luapula province is not catered for preschool, the whole province, and therefore that's why we have establishment register number 0, actual 0? Is there no early childhood education happening in Luapula province?
PO through the PS, can respond to that question?
Thank you very much. I would like, I don't know if the numbers could be obtained, if I could be allowed just to step out, but we have the teachers for ECE in Luapula. But just the figures, we have the teachers, as the Honorable is asking. It's just the figures that I may not be able to have. Permission, Madam, through the PS, I can get the figures.
PS, maybe you can help us. Why the figures were not given to auditors? It is blank, and then the PO is saying no, there are teachers on the ground. Why? Honorable Mparara.
Chair, you see, that's the responses that are coming are also now giving us doubts in the way they are saying they are disputing these figures that have been provided by the Auditor General. Now, if they are up to speed or they know what they are doing, these officers from these provinces, including the director, look, if there is no, on the establishment register of the ministry, it's not provided for in Luapula, you indicate it's not provided for. If the actuals for Lusaka are not there, just say we don't know how many teachers we have under Lusaka early childhood, then we'll accept that you don't know. Unlike to taking us round circles saying no, we want to make phone calls. What is the actual? That's what we're asking. On Luapula, do you have anything on the establishment? If there is nothing, then tell us what efforts you have made to make sure that you have the numbers that are supposed to appear on the establishment register. Not what you are telling us, taking us circles. I think controlling officer, your people are not to any good. I think they are not getting things right.
Honorable Daka.
Madam Chairperson, this is worrying because the audit is a process. The auditors went to the PO for Luapula. Why was it difficult for her to furnish them with the accurate information? Because Auditor General went to Luapula to her office, and she failed to provide the information then. What is it that she's going to provide now? Because they were with her, and she gave them that there were no preschool teachers in Luapula. Even the actual ones, they were not there. It's 0 here. Now she's asking for time to step outside so that she can find out from whosoever. Now, when at the point of the audit, she failed to provide this information. Auditor General didn't just indicate that there were 0 preschool teachers in Luapula. So, Chair, I think people have to be serious. I submit.
In fact, PS, even before you came here, you had an opportunity to check on this report. If your PO knew that there are numbers, they would have corrected the situation before coming to this committee, and like telling us that we step outside to get something. PS, you can respond.
Yeah, I think let me interpret what this table is stating. According to this table, and according to the revelation of the Auditor General, they are saying that there's understaffing of certain schools. And where there's 0, for me, what they are saying is that there's actually no understaffing here. The issue is, it's okay, it's 0. Because if there was understaffing, there should have been a figure of how many of those teachers are understaffed. This is what this is saying, unless I'm getting it wrongly. Especially I'm looking at Luapula. The actual, and there's no variance, there's no, according to the actual, it's 0, 0. It means, as far as this table is concerned, the position is okay. But where there's understaffing, it's where the figures are appearing. That the position of that province, the understaffing is this number. And the actual ought to be this number. But if there's 0, 0, means that's the way I'm interpreting it. Unless I'm wrong, the Auditor General can help me.
Auditor General.
Thank you.
Switch off your mic.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so there is a text above that table which tries to explain what is in the table. It's like maybe, okay, it's saying, maybe allow me to read through the text.
Okay.
A review of the 2022 approved establishment register against the filled positions at preschool, primary and secondary schools sampled in 6 provinces revealed that out of 72,671 authorized positions, only 55,000 positions had been filled, resulting in an understaffing of 17,000. So that table shows that the establishment register, for instance, for Luapula province, is 0, and the actual is 0, and therefore the variance is 0. It's the same for Lusaka. Is it? Yeah, for Lusaka it shows that the establishment register showed 119 and there was nothing under 0. Either the information was not given, or even in the actual sense there are no people filling those positions. That's what this table is trying to say. I submit.
Honourable members will proceed. Honourable Mai.
Madam Chairperson, the controlling officer had a different position. Auditor General has confirmed the position of the committee. So now we need to clarify this issue, because I thought the PS would have told this committee that it's either misfiling of information or miscommunication, because there's no way you can have an establishment register which is new in Luapula province. So what Honorable Mira was trying to establish, why is it that we have not been told what are the numbers in Luapula? So we cannot proceed before a correct position is given to the committee, because the people in Luapula are listening. What is the current position?
Human resource through the PS can help us. Director Human Resource. But who is the Director Human Resource? The Director. Director, you should respond. This is your area. PS, sorry, Honorable Likando.
It worries us when we sit here and the director has got no information that is given. If he has the information, he should have given it to the director to execute this. When we start seeing directors, and this is not the first time, we have seen deputy directors and deputy chief accountants running the show while the director finance or the substantive director is not doing anything. It gives us some source of worry. Who is running the show? So the next question which I have, I'm just observing, because if there is any data that is supposed to be given to the director, no matter how new he is, he must know what is going on in the ministry. He must have been updated. Now my question to the person who wants to answer, the deputy director who wants to answer this question: how many teachers do you have in these sampled 6 provinces?
Director, HR assistant through the PS. You know, honorable members, what it means is that when the auditors went on the ground, the directors were not involved. They left their work to their junior officers. This is why we have these challenges. But you, Director Human Resource, you are supposed to be hands-on on this report. in fact, this report is the controlling officer's report. You are supposed to know whatever is here. When you are given the Auditor General's report, you have to sit with your officers, understand it, respond to the questions. And like what we are seeing, from yourself to the director to the assistant director, you are being unfair to the Zambians. So, assistant director, can you respond to those questions?
Thank you so much, Chair. When you look at the 6 provinces that were sampled, they have given us those numbers like the MP has alluded to, but allow me to give the national figure. Remember, early childhood education is a new concept in our country, and equally before we didn't have positions until last year, for example, when we were given TA to create 2,066 positions countrywide. So when you look at the TA that was given for last year, we were given 2,066 positions for ECE countrywide. When you divide that by 10, on average, you have 200 positions for each province. Okay, and that when you look at the establishment register for 2023, you find that it is going to be updated to accommodate the new figures that I'm talking about. Because if you look at last year's register, you find 00 in areas where we should have EC, because we were not given the positions until during the TA that was given last year. And then, Chair, when you talk about the 72,000 positions that may be available in our establishment register, yes, they may be available, but they are not funded. You may have a position which is available but not funded, hence cannot be filled. That's why we have those disparities. I thought I could mention that. I submit.
Any interventions? Honorable Wamnyima.
Thank you, Chair. And just for the record, I'm Imanga Wamnyima, Member of Parliament for Nalolo. Chair, I've been following even virtually, and I just wanted to understand the struggle to have correct information during audit. Because it appears as if audit happens within 24 hours. When it's a process, a management letter is written. Why are you struggling to give information at audit? And you are coming here to resubmit. The controlling officer gave a submission, you are giving a different submission. So I don't know, Chair, which submission we should follow, because I've been following.
Yes.
Chair, yes, it's true, because when we are giving disparities, I know there's a struggle going on, and of course you said I shouldn't apologize, but I mean, I have to apologize, it's happening. But the position is exactly what Assistant Director said. Funding positions will be a disparity between what is in the register and what is being utilized, as long as funding has not been given by Treasury. Those positions will be 72,000, but they will not be 72,000. The only ones that will be actual are the ones that are being funded. So the position is exactly the way Assistant Director has put it.
Honorable Mfalari.
Does it, following Honorable Wamnyima, what Honorable Wamnyima has just indicated, so does it mean that now we should take it that actually the Auditor General's office is correct, that they are on the establishment register is as it is 72,671, out of which 55,000 positions are the ones which are filled and they are being funded, and you have the deficit that we are seeing, which is 17,664 are non-funded. And what was difficult to answer or to indicate that actually this is the position? I don't know now, because what we are getting is them are saying there is 1,578 as of 2022. These are the vacancies that were available. But now again in another breath they are saying the positions that you are seeing that are existing, they are those that are not funded, but they are on the establishment register.
PS, can you intervene?
As at audit, as at the time the auditors were on the ground, the position is the way they found it, but what it is that between the time the audit concluded, although that information which is new should have been brought in at the time audit was taking place, before their conclusion and coming out of our ministry. The position came later, which of course we are all saying should have come much earlier. the position came later on, the actual real position, which ideally, had we done it within the limited time of audit, all this should have actually been ascertained. But now it means verification with the auditors outside this, which of course is not acceptable, but this is exactly what has transpired. At the time of audit, that's the way it was. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Amnyema.
Chair, I think we'll move, but before we move, when was this position? Is there a date, and what is the position? Because we're just hearing the position. Which date and why? Because if did it take a year? The Auditor General's report before it comes, there's a lot of time. So when was this position established, and what is that position you're referring to in no uncertain terms?
Okay, before the response, maybe I ask the Director HR. Director HR, when did you join the ministry?
You moved to the ministry this year in early February. Oh.
No, you've been around. When auditing was taking place, you were on the ground, so indeed to help us also. This is your area. You need to take care of what is happening in the ministry in relation to teachers, and like what is coming out, you are not in charge of the department. Director, Assistant, can you respond to the questions from Honorable Amnyema?
Thank you so much, Chair. Indeed, the 1,500 positions that we spoke about are the vacant and funded positions that if you were to go on payroll, you would find them because they are provided for. Like I alluded to, we get a staff assignment every month to look at the vacant positions that are there and funded which can be used. Now the difference between the 72,000 and the other positions, like was discovered by Auditor General, those are positions in the establishment but maybe not be available because they're not funded, but they're there in the establishment register. So the current position is as PS as presented. I submit, Chair.
Honorable members, Honorable Mfalali.
I don't know.
Round, eh?
Yes, it's taking us round. We don't know what the position for which position are you telling us that this is the position as PS has indicated? You have we are the one who has indicated that on the establishment register, and I even find it difficult to understand. If you are agreeable to that, why didn't you verify what the Auditor General gave you? And that's more the reason we're asking you, out these 6 provinces that are provided for here, how many teachers are recruited, are on payroll on these 6? You are the people who are in charge of this ministry. You must have the figures, even as you knew that we are coming to look at the establishment here. How many teachers do you have under the ministry out of these 6 provinces? These 6 provinces should be able to tell you, say, okay, by the establishment registers that I have approved, I have this number of teachers. Approved establishment register, not to people who are on salary. Because what these people are, what they are doing, the assistant director is doing, is taking us round circles. We are asking him, 6 provinces, how many teachers do you have that are being paid for? And they are on the establishment register. He's not giving. He's saying the national picture. We are not interested in the national picture. We want to look at the figures that have been provided for here by the Auditor General, which is 72,671 on the establishment register as totals. Now, you are disputing this submission by the Auditor General. You are saying it's not true. The deficit is far too less. So now we're asking you to say, on your establishment register, how much do you have yourselves as ministry? And how many teachers do you have who are working in these 6 provinces who are on salary? You tell us the figures.
Assistant Director.
Thank you, Chair. The ministry has a total of 142,732 teachers countrywide in all the 10 provinces. In all the 6 provinces that we are talking about, we have 71,551 teachers countrywide. I submit.
Honourable members, we are not getting the responses. As a committee, we'll make recommendations so we can proceed to the next question. But what you should know, PS, you have to change the systems in your ministry We are wasting a lot of government resources, and this is the reason why this is one of the ministries where we have ghost workers who get salaries because of such way of doing things. So, Honorable Daka, we go to lack of school libraries.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. A very serious matter where, again, we're talking about a sample of 6 provinces, and even that sample is not such representative because it doesn't cater for all the districts. Madam Chairperson, we found that 30 schools had no libraries in those sampled provinces. Madam Chairperson, in her response, the controlling officer is attributing that to inadequate funding under infrastructure grant allocation. But however, is claiming that there will be a construction of libraries in 120 schools under ZIP and 115 under GRZ. The question from the committee now arises to find out whether our controlling officer has got evidence, because this committee doesn't rely on speculations. We're a factual committee. Is she able to provide facts or to lay cards on the table so as the committee to be convinced that indeed the minister has a plan to construct these libraries? I submit, Madam Chair.
PS, you can respond to the question.
Thank you so much, Chair. I think I can confidently state to the committee here that in the 115 schools and the 120 earmarked, according to architectural drawings and what has been agreed upon between the Minister of Education, the Minister of Finance, and for the 120 that are World Bank for World Bank, the agreement on the table and on the architectural drawings that every single school is going to have a library, and it's not just going to be a library where there are just books, it will be a library where students will even be sitting and reading books in there and collecting books as though it's a normal library in the way it's supposed to be. So that I can confirm. However, for the schools that historically don't have libraries, we have decided as a ministry with my infrastructure team that even for them, we are now going to create at least a room at each school to have a library put in place. But for these other ones, confidently I'm saying so, it's there on the architectural drawings, it's been funded and agreed upon by all parties. Thank you so much.
Honorable Mwamba.
Thank you very much, Controlling Officer.
Can you introduce yourself?
Oh, my name is Swangile Mwamba, Member of Parliament for Kasama Central. It's just a rider to what Honorable Daka said, and to your response concerning the architectural drawings. Are you able to provide this committee with those architectural drawings so that we may also have a look at them? Thank you.
PS.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, for now, I wouldn't, because I've not brought it here, but we can confidently bring those architectural drawings if you allow us for verification to be done. We have them. They're in black and white.
Yeah, we can have them in the afternoon since
yes,
we are still together all day.
We can have them.
Yeah. So
thank you so much.
Honorable members, we can proceed to another question. Shortage of desks in schools. Honorable Mwira.
Thank you very much, Chair. Through you, Controlling Officer, it's true that we have a shortage of desks across the country, and we've begun to see some interventions, especially through CDF. But what I want to find out is, firstly, what is the shortfall of the desks countrywide as we stand? And as you provide that answer, what is the ministry's position to address the shortage of desks? Because I have seen in the responses here, there's reference to some desks coming through CDF, some desks coming through rehabilitation by the schools themselves, some desks coming through donations. What is the position of the ministry to address this shortage of desks countrywide? I'm asking, I want to find out, do we want to rely all on CDF, or at the central level there is a position that the ministry is doing to supplement what these rehabilitations and the donors and the CDF is doing. I thank you, Chair.
Any question on this one? Honorable Mwamba.
Thank you, Chairperson. So when it comes to shortage of desks, we've only it's only been a sample, which is definitely not full representation of the entire country. Looking at the 29, we wish to now know what is the official position of the entire country. 10 provinces, how many learners are seated and how many desks we don't have. I submit.
PS, you can respond to the two questions.
Thank you so much, Chair. First of all, countrywide, the deficit countrywide is 564,726 desks. We did an inventory and we made sure that was done because we had to make sure that we know what we are doing as we are providing for these desks. I also come in on the issue of, I can even break it to province by province. If that's what is required, I can do so. So for Central Province, the deficit is 87,902. Copper Belt Province, 90,388. Eastern Province, 112,880. Luapula Province, 14,758. Lusaka Province, 42,111. Muchinga Province, 16,481. Northern Province, 33,511. Northwestern Province, 44,372. Southern Province, 46,852. Western Province, 75,471. And if you total that, it's coming to, and then we also added the trade, the total comes to 540,907,000. Now, at the time when this policy direction was given as to no child is sitting on the floor, we already, if you remember, we already in the budget, the budget had already been provided. So what we did is for infrastructure, we took out for desks 70 million kwacha. When we calculated to see whether we can actually purchase desks, we noticed that the best way to go was, after we went around, there were too many of those desks that were broken that were lying around the whole country. So we thought it was going to be cost effective to actually mop up all the broken desks because the metals are in fine condition, and then make sure we do a rehabilitation program. And in doing the rehabilitation program, we actually centered in every province. There was a central place where we collected every single broken desk and placed them at that particular area, and then decided on our own as a ministry to now, first of all, before we even identified trade schools, they were being done by our own schools that do metal work and so on. Through the DEBs, we started providing monies. When we noticed that the work was mammoth, we decided to enter into memorandums of understanding with various other third-party institutions, trade schools, prisons, in all the provinces to see how best they can help us. And all that money was provided, and I think that's the work we've been doing up to now. We've never purchased a brand new desk, rather we've been actually rehabilitating and making sure every single desk is rehabilitated. And what we've been doing in redistributing back, we've taken an inventory. The metals that are coming is from a particular school. It means that when the rehabilitation is taken, they go back to that particular school that gave us that those desks to rehabilitate. And if you've noticed, we've been doing that. However, because, as I said right from the beginning, the budget cannot allow us to think we can actually sustain the entire program for this year. We cannot just get monies from anywhere. We have to rely on the fact that this should have been budgeted for. So, in short, for this year, with the monies that were given, we cannot actually meet the demand. Now, what we've also decided to do is, we've also looked at the fact that even if today we're given all all the monies that were required, either to rehabilitate or to purchase, to have a desk per child, still that will not work out for as long as infrastructure remains the way it is. And I'll give you one good example. If the classroom has 80 children, there's absolutely no way 80 desks can enter into that particular classroom because the space is limited. Rather, there might only be 40 desks that will be there. I just want to give the real scenario the way it is. So in the end, we've noticed that much as there will be this issue, whether in this next budget we are given all the monies that are required, the issue of infrastructure is pertinent. So we have thought strategically also ourselves and said, is it only infrastructure, or we can come up with other strategies? The other strategy that we are already thinking of as a ministry is that maybe from grade 1 to 4, because those take up 3 hours and a half or 3 hours at the most to learn, we could actually have 40 desks in a classroom, but break the children into 2 groups. One in the morning, they'll sit on the 40 desks, the other 40 can sit in the afternoon. And that can only work at primary school level, while the rest can wait for infrastructure. But fortunately, with the 120 schools that we are erecting, plus the 115 which we are going to conclude, we believe that there will actually be openings now coming up for infrastructure. But that's the position. I just wanted to make sure I look at it conclusively. I submit.
Okay. Honorable members. Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chair. So, in your response, controlling officer, are you saying the solution from the central government as a ministry to address this issue of desks is through rehabilitation of the broken down desks that are lying around in the schools? I ask this, I want to know also the position on the CDF, because you know, CDF is Constituency Development Fund. It addresses various issues in the constituency. Education is just one component. There is health, there is infrastructure, roads, bridges, and everything else. That's why I was asking, other than the rehabilitation that you have talked about, and the additional schools that will add to the classroom spaces, what is the ministry's position to address the deficit of the desks? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Controlling officer, you have told the committee that you allocated 70 million for the rehabilitation program. How many desks have been rehabilitated from this program? And also a contrast between the cost of rehabilitation and the cost of a new desk. Can you please share with the committee how you came up to say rehabilitation is more cost effective than the purchase of a new desk? I submit.
Yes, you can respond to the 3 questions.
Thank you so much. Maybe I'll begin with the last one, the last one that has been given. To arrive at what is more cost effective between that is being bought if it were to be purchased brand new, and the one that is being rehabilitated, we sat down with our procurement team, because they are the ones actually who are invested with such kind of issues to do as a technocrat, and they arrived at figures, and I have even the assistant director in charge of infrastructure here. It actually came out that it was better to rehabilitate, because mind you, the frames are intact. What needs to be done on a rehabilitated desk is the board at the top. So you are only spending money on the board at the top and the bolt and nuts, but you are also just spending money to now vanish and then paint all the actual the frames. But whereas in purchasing, you are purchasing it as a whole brand new, and I think the figure my director can tell you, because she has it at her fingertips, the difference between the cost of rehabilitating and the cost of buying a new. She has that cost, but obviously it came out that rehabilitation was better. And in any case, we even just thought, look at all this strong metal, we cannot just throw it. We would rather make good use of it and then make sure that as we save on costs, then we can purchase. If we finish rehabilitating, we'll have now no choice but to purchase brand new ones, but we'll have saved money. When it came to I don't know whether...
question from Honorable Mwira.
Yes, Honorable Mwira has talked about what comforts are we giving, especially when we are looking at the issues of CDF. The CDF, which is run by the Ministry of Local Government, what we did, we were very careful. We didn't want to be manufacturing desks or procuring desks in whatever form it is, and our colleagues are doing CDF and we don't know what we are doing. So we sat as a team, technocrats from Ministry of Local Government and ourselves, myself and the PS at local government, where we wanted to synchronize so that we know that we are not just shooting everywhere without knowing what we are trying to do. So they arrived at their own figures. We also arrived at our figures. In the end, we noticed that we were almost at par with the figures that they found as to the deficit in comparison to what we had. Then we agreed that because CDF, we had noticed that they are into, mostly when it comes to schools, construction of maybe 1x3 classroom blocks of schools and so on. It was agreed that for the schools that they are arriving at, the new schools, it will come with the local government, not just a school, they should also put in desks so that we don't confuse the situation. So as they are building those through 1x3 or 1x4 classroom blocks, they should go with desks so that we don't distort the figure that has already been ascertained as a deficit. And that's the way we've been working. However, when it comes to the new budget now for us will cater for everything that we have that we believe is a deficit, and we've budgeted for that. And Director of Finance is here for us, so that we own it. We are the owners. CDF is merely helping us, but we should be on the ground to own what is supposed to be ours. Thank you so much.
Let's progress, honorable members. Honorable Mpalali.
Controlling officer, I don't see why you should have difficulties within about these desks in terms of reconciliation of what is coming from CDF and what will come under your ministry. I think there is devolution going on right now, and I think your debts will sit at the council. And these debts that are feeding into your ministry, upon understanding what will be procured in their district or in their constituency and what you intend to procure. Do you have a communication strategy in terms of your ministry to ensure that these discrepancies are non-existent, because you need to communicate where you are coming from, where you are, and where you are going? Do you have director communication or manager who is doing the communication part of your ministry, so that we are able to know as citizens out there that you are coming from this point, you are this point, and you are targeting to finish these 564,000 desks. Your target is by this much, because the pronouncement was made and the directive was given that come 2023 December 31st, no child should sit on the floor.
PS can respond to the question.
Thank you so much, Chair. In fact, when I noticed that the ministry was big, and at one point we didn't have a communications person, I also noticed that there was a lot going on in the ministry in terms of not just this, but a lot of things that needed to be communicated to the public. I decided to fight to have a position created for a head communication, and we have that. If you've noticed, there's a lot that we are talking about as a ministry. It's because there is now a full-fledged Department of Communication headed by the Assistant Director in charge of communication, and they are conversant. All these figures I'm talking about, they are very conversant. We are also working with the Ministry of Local Government. We are both conversant. In fact, when you look at figures, we both know where we are and where we are going. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable members, we go to failure to meet early childhood education standards. Honorable Wamnyima.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling officer, you you submitted that the ministry had considered in the 2022 and 2023 budget construction of 40 ECE centers. Have you managed to construct these 40 centers? Since we are now in December, so the next budget is 2024. Yeah.
PS, you can respond to the question.
Thank you so much, Chair. Not that we have managed, but we have already, from inception, planning, procurement. In fact, the biggest problem has been procurement. The process is tedious and actually elongated for nothing. Sometimes you think you are done, then it comes in. So for this year, we have begun. We have done all the procurements. In fact, the evaluation is almost concluded. We received a lot of applications, over 1,000 something that we are trying to do the evaluation for, so it's taken too long to conclude. If it wasn't for that procurement process that is quite tedious and long, would have by now said we are almost concluding, but we've already begun. In fact, there are two areas we've looked at. There's one for World Bank, ECE under World Bank, and there's ECE under government. There's one way, which is one ahead, sorry, I'm asking as if I'm alone in here. One is ahead of the other, but at least we have gone enough. By next year, Honourable Member, will be concluded with this exercise. We've gone very far and advanced. Thank you.
Any questions on this one? We proceed to the next one. Lack of sufficient bed space. Honorable Amir.
I wanted, sorry, on this I wanted to understand, how long has it taken to procure? How long? Because I think this, we have a budget is per annum, 12 months. So have you been procuring for 12 months?
PS, you can respond.
Yes.
You can redirect the question.
Yeah, the exact will be, but it's long. It's actually taken over
a year.
The director in charge of ESIC, and he knows also, even if the procurement head is not here. The procurement head is not here, but he knows exactly what has taken place.
He knows,
but it's taken long.
Giving us answers. You can respond to that question.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Give us their answers, not general comments.
Not really. What I would say, Chair, is that the 20 are already actually being at the roof level. They are very advanced. We did the monitoring in 20 districts in 5 provinces. That one I can comfortably, anyone can go and check. Then that is the 2022 budget. For 2023 budget, this is where now we are at the financial stage in terms of evaluation of bids. The PS has alluded to. We had really overwhelming response from the bidders, such that there were too many. By this time really we could have finished, but the process has been long and tedious. This is where we are. Because what we have planned in the budget is that every year, starting from 2022 to where we are today, we are budgeting for 20 EC hub centers. This is where we are. If I think that is the information I can provide. Thank you very much, Chair.
Honorable Mfalali.
Yeah, this audit query, controlling officer, through you to the director who is giving us a picture that everything is blossoming. Why did you fail to answer a query like this one? For you to explain what was planned in 2022 to meet these targets. Once you explain properly, I mean, the auditors will scrap it out. But why did you have to wait to come and tell us all those flourishing things that actually things are working, we have planned it? No, I mean, why should people be lazy and stop meeting these things, doing these things accordingly?
PS, you can respond.
Chair, I can answer on that one. I think the auditors also may bear with me and agree with that. For as long as you have not met the deadline and the budgets, you have not utilized everything, it will come out as an audit query. So there we are, it's beyond us to come out as an audit query, but what we do to make sure that we don't lose out on those monies, like we did on this same one, Director of Finance had to write to Minister of Finance to make sure that that money, what do you call the term? It's carried over to the next budget. But it will still be an audit query for as long as we have not fulfilled. They don't mind whether it's procurement issues. They won't buy into that. The fact is we have not done it, and it will be an audit query. That's what happens.
I don't think that is true. Chair, once you provide the evidence of what you are doing in the process, the failure is you fail to provide the letters that you are talking about, that you wrote to ST, you did this, and I don't think so. This wouldn't have come here. Provide the evidence that you do, what you are talking about here, that there is this delay. There is nothing.
No, PS, AG, is that the correct picture? The PS is telling us that even if you are, as long as they have not done, they need to be an audit query. So maybe you can guide us. No, PS, it's not you to tell me to direct you. We need to balance up things here. So it's me to direct who to respond. So the AG is whispering something to me. Okay, so let's proceed. Honorable members who do the needful. Order as time is 11:26. We go for a health break for 10 minutes. We come back at 11:36. PS, I lift your immunity for 10 minutes. Let me rush to the chamber.
Katuba constituency lies west of Lusaka and is the first entry into Central Province on the Great North Road. Katuba derives its name from Gutuba, meaning white sand. The constituency is mostly rural but experiencing rapid growth in real estate development and smallholder farms. There are also a few factories that have come up in the past few years. In order to bridge the gap between the area member of parliament and the constituents, a constituency office was established in 2009. Mr. Mwabashike Mkulukusa is Katuba Member of Parliament, elected in 2021. He now runs through the members of parliament that have served before him.
I'm the number 8th member of parliament, the first one in the 70s when Katuba was annexed from Kembe, because it used to be one constituency, which we call the first member of parliament for Katuba is Mr. Laima, who is no more. He served up to around 1978, from about 1974-75, when the second member of parliament, Mrs. Muyunda Mavis, came in. She's the longest member of parliament to have served Katuba until the Multi-Party for Democracy came in 1990-91, when Gilbert Mululu became the third member of parliament. And then we had Mr. Shakafuswa, Jonas Shakafuswa, who in 2001, when UPND was formed and contested the first time, it picked the seat under the UPND with Mr. Jonas Shakafuswa, who became the fourth member of parliament. And after Jonas came Mr. Chikusu, Dr. Chikusu, who became the fifth member of parliament. Served just for a while. Unfortunately, he died. And then, of course, in 2016 came a lady again, Patricia Mwashingwere, who I'm sure you saw also serve just for a short period of time. Didn't finish her term. She passed on. She was the 60th member of parliament. And then in 2019, when she passed on, Honorable Bampika Palasa took over to finish her term up to 2021.
The Katuba lawmaker now gives a general overview of Katuba constituency.
Katuba is a peri-urban constituency, if you like. Of course, it's defined as a rural constituency, but because of the, before there used to be urban migration, people moving from rural to the urban areas, but we are experiencing rural migration, where people are moving so much from the urban areas into rural. And Katuba has been one of those that has become one of the main targets by many people wanting to settle because of its proximity to Lusaka. It is mainly, the main activities in Katuba is agriculture. It has always been an agricultural center, part of Central Province. It is surrounded by Kembe on the northern side, by Chisamba on the east. On the east there is Chisamba and the Chongwe, which also gets into Mandevu, and then we share also with Matero, Chilanga, Mwembeshi, Nangoma, and we go and share with Mumbwa. So we are somehow in between. It's quite wide in terms of the length, almost 120, 130 kilometers in the length, and about 80 in some areas, about 70, 50 kilometers in the width. So it's quite a vast constituency that now is experiencing two types of life: the peri-urban life on the eastern side and the typical rural life on the western side. Yeah. So it's a sporting constituency with a lot of young ones wanting to take into sport, but also the adults like myself. We love recreation through sport because it's predominantly a Christian constituency, predominantly SDA, which is Seventh-day Adventist, and most of those people don't want to engage into things like beer drinking and other things. So they find sport one of the easiest, one of the one which they don't think they would be committing any sin if they go for such recreational.
Challenges faced by people in rural areas are quite similar, as Mr. Nkulukusa explains.
Any other rural constituency, we are usually within what many rural constituencies face, which are mainly 5 major challenges that are always targeted. Number one is the availability of schools. We have quite a number of primary schools, but we have very few secondary schools. This time at least we have about 1, 2. Now you can imagine for such a vast constituency to have only 1, 2 secondary schools, it's a big challenge. But also the infrastructure of these schools, more especially the primary schools. The infrastructure is quite dilapidated. Many of the students or the pupils sit on the floor. We have a huge challenge to ensure that we provide desks, we improve some of the infrastructure. Katuba is a place where you will go to a school and you find that there is a house for a teacher that was built in 60s, cracked and all those things. So that has always been a challenge from the education sector. Shifwankula Primary School, they are very lucky people. I'm sure if you should take a second visit, it's now one of the best schools that has worked, thanks to a church called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We partnered with them. That roof that was blown off was rehabilitated. They are now building 3 blocks of each block has 3 classrooms. They also completed one of the 1x3 classroom blocks that was started. So I can rest assure you, if you go to Shifwankula now, they are one of the luck schools that we partnered with an NGO, a church, which came to help us. But there are many other schools that could be in the state of the way you found Shifwankula before, that also require attention from us. The second is the health sector. First of all, Katuba had never had a hospital, whether a mini hospital, a level 1 hospital. We've only had the health posts that are so distant from the communities, and so that is a challenge because people have to walk distances. We thank the government now that they gave me a hospital, a level 1 hospital, which is under construction now. We are hoping that it will finish very soon. It will be the first ever in Katuba. Despite the proximity of Katuba being near to Lusaka, apart from one trunk road which passes through Katuba going to connect with Kembe, all other roads are almost impassable. They are very bad. And so some of them have even been abandoned because it's almost impossible to drive on those roads. So because of that, we have also targeted road infrastructure to be one of the issues to be addressed, so that at least people can access. You know, when you talk of road infrastructure, there are few streams in Katuba, rivers and streams, and so you find that there are a lot of issues of bridges, collapsing of bridges. Pupils can't cross to go to school because this bridge has collapsed, and all that is falling under road infrastructure that we are trying to look, and one of the challenges that we are looking at. We have embarked on a project we are calling Electrify Katuba, where we have identified 36 actually, not 46, 36 electrification points that are public in nature. These are schools, health centers, and community schools. And we are trying to see how, if we take electricity to those areas, for example, for pupils, they are now doing a lot of ICT courses, but they don't have the infrastructure to demonstrate the ICT. All they are doing is theory. So we are hoping that once electricity comes to most parts of Katuba, then more especially to schools and health centers, then it is going to be a catalyst for development and increase the level of investment. Because many people, once you do the road, the Chinese actually were saying, take a road to an area, take electricity, then you'll have taken development. you investors will now go and put your own development there. Katuba is an agricultural center. We do a lot of agriculture. We don't have so much commercial farming in Katuba, but we have a lot of peasant and improved farming. And so you find that we need a lot of agricultural extension services. You know, animals sometimes die of corridor diseases, and so we need a lot of agricultural services from the government to provide those extension services for agriculture. Deeping issues, you know, prevention of diseases to animals, what type of crops to plant, gardening, and all those things. And so we believe that because we are near to Lusaka, once those services are there, a lot of people are going to venture into agriculture, more especially at improved level, and that is going to change the lifestyle of the people and the income levels of the people. We have actually an association, we formed a public-private partnership association, which is called the Katuba Public-Private Partnership Association. Currently, it is being chaired by Mount Meru. Mount Meru, as you go to Katuba towards the toll gate, there is a huge manufacturing plant on your right, and that is the chair currently of that association. It was purely my initiative to try and bring the private sector together, a coordinated approach of how we can deal with the private sector.
The Katuba lawmaker is passionate about changing the lives of the people of Katuba.
The word of encouragement for me is that Katuba must be a little bit patient. The agenda, the real agenda for development has just started. We are, in terms of CDF, we are just months, not even a year. And in terms of government, we are just above a year. And when the CDF started coming, there was a lot of teething problems. And like any other good thing, there usually comes with a few challenges. We have learned the ropes. We have now a learning curve enough to implement. Like, for example, now, next month, we are starting to sit to plan for the CDF 2023. That is how much we want to be ahead of time. So a little bit of patience. Rome was not built in a day. The infrastructure was so dilapidated, it can be built in 1 month. But I can rest assure them that where the investment for CDF is going to go in the next 3 years, definitely they will see change. And that will be the basis for them to think whether I am a good captain to continue pardoning the ship, or I'm a wrong one for somebody else to come in. But it's all up to them when it reaches that point.
Mr. Justin Mafuta is a professional assistant for Katuba Constituency Office.
Well, majorly, my major objective as a professional assistant is to facilitate the work of the Member of Parliament in the constituency. As you may be aware, the roles of the MP, one is to represent the people in the constituency. So my major role is to facilitate the work of the MP in the constituency.
Mr. Mafuta encourages Katuba constituents to make use of the
Welcome back. PS, back your immunity. Honored members, we can continue where we ended on failure to meet every childhood education standards. Honourable members, you can even pair it with lack of sufficient bed space. Honourable Mwamba.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm looking at Table 5 for schools with inadequate bunker beds. And personally for me, I take keen interest when I look at Kasama Girls Boarding School, which has a bed space shortage of 630 beds. There has been money that has been dispersed to the tune of 6.7 million to the schools cited in the report, which there's 6 schools that have been cited. So I wanted to find out, Chairperson, when the funds were dispersed to the schools, and also if these funds have been enough to address the shortage of the bunker beds and mattresses in schools. And then looking at page 10, it is talking about a progress report that has to be submitted to the committee concerning the expenditure returns. So also, in addition to that, could we also have the progress report in how the funds have been expended? Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, respond the 2 questions. PS.
Thank you so much, Chair. Just to array the fears of the Honourable Member, we did indeed disburse funds in October, seeing this shortfall, and these funds are equal to, for every single school, the number of bunk beds that are required, plus mattresses. We made sure that each school was given according to what the shortfall was, but in addition, we made sure that the bunk bed cannot go without a mattress. We provided 6-inch mattresses, at least comfortable enough for the children. We've attached actually, except we didn't name it, we've attached a supporting document to show that that was done. And I think there's a second question where you said progress report will be submitted. Okay. We've been receiving actually, maybe infrastructure can help me with that. I don't know the latest that we have. Is that what you are looking for? Okay. Thank you. Madam Kapia. Oh, sorry, I'm not the chair. It's a chair.
Madam Kapta is which position? Okay. Director in charge of infrastructure can respond to the question.
Thank you, Chair. The progress report will be sent after they finish the procurement process, because this is when they're doing the procurement process. They're not yet done. So we don't know the status.
Honorable
Chair, the officer can't say they don't know a status. Here you present a status. So, I mean, when you come here, it's closure. We don't come here to speculate, to know maybe. So what is the status? It's better you say there is no status.
What's the status, Director? I think she said they are doing the procurement processes. It's in process, and then she's saying that the report will only be read after they are done with the procurement. So I don't know. Honorable Amnyema.
Chair, procurement has stages. The ministry submit for 1 year. They are procuring on ECE. So we are concerned. So that's why we want to know: is that evaluation? What is so that we understand? Because really, Chair, we can't have a situation.
Where is head procurement? Oh, you said he's not here.
But Chair, Director Finance maybe can also guide, because we went on site. Maybe he's the one who can help us also. He went on site.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you, PS. I visited the province last month, November. The school have submitted the request to the Provincial Education Office. The PO has advertised to suppliers to respond to the inquiry so that they can sit and evaluate. That's the stage where the procurement of the beds and mattresses is for Kasama girls. In terms of when did we send the money was sent in October 3rd to the school.
Which year?
This year, 3rd October 2023. How much did we send? We sent 2,167,450 to the school. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Mfalag.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling Officer. We want to close matters like this, but we cannot close it the way it is like this. Your Director Finance is saying he sent 2 million, and you are dealing with 6 schools here. Is there any proof to show that the monies that were disbursed to these schools they were actually disbursed, because as far as we are concerned, you are literally just saying 6.7 million was disbursed. In your submission, you are not indicating any appendix to show that you have actually done that. Secondly, these schools that you are giving these monies, I mean, they could have done either an advertisement for the procurement of what you have instructed, if it's not being done centrally. If it's done by schools, there should be proof that we advertised, we have shortlisted, we have done what, we are evaluating, and that's what the honorable member next to me was saying, Honorable Mnyim, that there are stages and you can prove that you are doing something.
Director Finance.
Thank you, Chairperson. First of all, I just want to apologize that we didn't indicate the appendix number. The supporting documents are there with what we submitted to Parliament. And if we check the soft copies which the honorable members have, they will find a portion which speaks to the issue which the honorable members raised.
What's the folio?
The folio is called the failure to provide bunker beds. It's there. Madam Likezo, you can just guide Parliament on that matter. In terms of the stage, Chairperson, the threshold for the school is very small. So when we sent the money, the school had to submit the request of the beds which they needed and specifications to the province. As indicated, Chairperson, we are going to submit the report and show evidence of the advert and evaluation report. And we hope that by that time, we should have suppliers have delivered to the school, so that all the information we give to Parliament to be comprehensive. I submit.
So the procurement is done at provincial level?
Yes.
Honorable Mfalali.
The challenge with the response they are giving, controlling officer, the response that you are giving us on this one, that you give a report in the future, you want this matter to come in 2024. That's when the reports again we will be looking at them. So why should you have to wait? Why didn't you just provide the necessary requisites, documents, to prove that you have done something?
Did you have those documents during the audit, or it was done after the audit? Director Finance.
Thank you, Chairperson. You realize that this report came from the province. The provincial auditors were interacting with the POs, and they came across this matter of failure to provide beds and mattresses. When this report came to headquarters, it was in August at a management stage. That's when the Office of the PS had sight of this query, and we responded to it by providing resources in October to the school. So we are in the procurement process. As indicated, procurement process is rigorous. At the moment, we are at advertising stage. I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Controlling Officer, a request was done, funds were dispersed, which is a certain amount of money. Every day that is lapsing, we risk that there will be fluctuation in prices. We're looking at a purchase of 1,704 beds. But we may understand that the procurement process may take a little bit long, but there is definitely need to expedite, because then you will not be able to purchase the 1,704 desks. So we, as a committee, wish to find out exactly what is holding back the process. Because from October, November, this is 2 months later, and there seems to be no definite progress concerning the purchase of desks. Do you realize that you risk that you will not purchase the same number of desks that were requested? Because as each day is passing, the price is also fluctuating. I submit.
PS, you can respond to the question.
I do realize that situation, but like I earlier stated,
Procurement, I wish there was a shortcut to this procurement, because even me, it really, it bogs us down. But I think what the committee should, if they can agree that at least we've made a step, we didn't waste time. August, the procurement, I mean, the issue came out as an audit query. I acted quickly. If it's going to reach that position, we'll have no choice but to see how best we can add. But at least I wanted to make sure I act, rather than thinking we'll do it and then we don't do it at all. We didn't even waste time. Within a month, I made sure that that man was available. We pray that it can be equal to the number in the way we calculated. If it fails, we'll add a little bit to make sure that all the beds and mattresses are procured. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Amim.
Thank you, and Controlling Officer, we commend you for reacting to the audit query. But we're just concerned that these are beds and mattresses. And you see mattresses, I mean, you open a bed, they can come in Rimbanda, they buy. I mean, these things of, you see, mattresses, you know, we are procuring, and we, as a committee, were struggling to understand that there's a procurement process for mattresses, beds. Maybe beds also, you know, Chair, we need to, of course, the Public Procurement Act has issues. But even beds, mattresses, surely it should be rocket science. We are procuring mattresses, and now we wait for a report. Well, the learners are sleeping on the floor. So, I mean, the province, they need to be serious. Chair. It's a simplified bidding. They don't even need to, this you just sign with it's a purchase order. It's not even a contract. So, I mean, Chair, I'm struggling to understand on mattresses that it's huge procurement. It's at some stage.
PS.
Chair, unfortunately, I wish it could not be rocket science. But that's the rule and the law that is before. And that's what we are crying for. That it's tedious for nothing.
1 minute.
But that's the way it is. We just have to adhere. Otherwise, we'll come here again for another audit query for purchasing without laid down procedures. So we are just following procedure. The auditors, I'm sure, can even agree with me. I can't go beyond what is stipulated.
Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Controlling Officer, the Procurement Act provides for provision of different goods and services depending on value. Depending on value. Even single sourcing or direct bidding is provided for, so long you meet all the requirements. It will never attract any audit. The simplified bidding, all these kind of provisions which are meant at making things easier for you. It's not, these audits, the audit queries, they come when you abrogate the law. But if you follow the law to the letter, there's really no problem. So this committee is laboring